Welcome to Season 3 of the Builders Podcast. I'm Matt Levenhagen. Here we share the journeys, strategies, and lessons that help entrepreneurs build what's next. Builders helping builders. Enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another The Builders. Today, it's a solo episode. It's the end of the year, the end of 2025, and I'm going to talk about AI. So if you're not into AI and building solutions for your business, this isn't the one for you. Maybe you'll hang out anyway, just to hang out, but it's up to you. But ultimately, yeah, we'll just touch on the year I've had for a minute or two, and then I want to dive right into this stuff because I've been building a lot. I've spent hundreds of hours over the last couple months planning, plotting, building, coding, with my AI friends. So, this last year has been, the last 2 years have been pretty formative in my agency. A lot's changed, a lot happened, some good, some bad, and we've had a lot of ups and downs. It's been challenging, and there's a lot of reasons for that I won't get into. But at the end of the day, as things have evolved, I have to evolve. So, this year has been a year of, cutting costs and shrinking the team a little bit, getting down to the nuts and bolts and being more lean and mean so I can survive, first of all, but also getting more done with my AI team. So I still have a little bit of a team, right? I still can pull in developers if I need them. I still have people helping me, but I am leaning more into the world of digital AI chatbots and things like that to help me get more done, but also within the context of actually coding for me and stuff. So, but that's not what we're getting into here. That's not what we're talking about. The last episode, so the last solo episode, I actually got into AI quite a bit as well, but it was related to how I'm using the various chatbots within more of the web interfaces, right? From the chatbot apps like ChatGPT, Claude, to using them within my code editors, where I'm managing projects, building features, building stuff. And so that was really what that one was about, and how I used them to strategize and build things and all that. Today is going to be a little bit different though. So that was kind of like capability on that side of things. I do use ChatGPT a lot. But I also use like Claude, and I use it now through the API and stuff as well, as we'll get into. But they had like a year in review for ChatGPT. If you haven't done yours, you log in, they'll show it to you if you've been with them. I don't know if there's criteria. But anyway, I did mine, and I was actually in the top 1% of users, like the top 1% of the people using ChatGPT. Like, I don't know where within that, but tens of thousands of messages and this and that. I think I had almost 3,000 different. I don't remember. I should have had the stats here handy for me. Actually, I probably could bring those up. Maybe if I pause a second, I'll bring it up here, and you'll be able to see. I'll cut to the chase. Cut. Okay, I'm back. So I brought it up. I actually did a screenshot. It's pretty cool. They're doing it like Spotify does it and stuff, where you can do this year in review. I saw a couple other places doing it. It must be a hot thing now. But top 1% of messages sent. First, now this is an interesting one. I wasn't expecting any of this. I thought I'm probably average, but the first 3% of users. So literally, I was the first 3% of the people that adopted and started using ChatGPT, which actually is probably skewed because, of course, I'm in tech. All right. Yeah. So, but yeah, then it gets into like 22,335 chats, 3,000 or so M-dashes exchanged. 26,000 messages. That's crazy. So I use Chat GPT a lot. But anyway, so back to what I was talking about though. So I talked a lot about, the capabilities around that though, like what, how I'm using it. But in that context, it was more around how I'm getting code written and stuff like that. But there's another aspect of this, and this could be more interesting to somebody that's not doing coding and web development and web design and stuff like that, because it's more related to the business. As I was talking about, it's been a kind of the last year or two has been kind of rough for my business, for my agency and the agencies I work with. There's a lot of things impacting workloads and things like that, but what I wanted to do, though, I had this kind of vision, and the vision starts always small. And then as you start building it, more ideas percolate up and and emerge, especially when you're dealing with AIs that, kind of throw in ideas. But I had this idea to build a local system to manage my data, like all my data, like everything about my business, but also the personal side of me. and and then so have business and personal and leverage AI locally. And there's different reasons for it. We'll get into a little bit of some of the reasoning there. Like part of it's the privacy, right? But also part of it's just having a central system. And I've talked to other AI gurus over the last several years and how they're using AI. So some of that kind of came out of that. Like I know I've talked to people that are collecting all their data and then they were going to be able to use that, or were already using that in their business and to make decisions or whatever. So that's kind of, that's been percolating in my head, but also I've been working with automations, well, for forever, but doing that more though, working in systems like ClickUp and stuff too, that has automations and for my project management. And I do a lot of stuff, but I'm also in a lot of places where I have data coming that I have to look at in different places, even my calendar. And then you got ClickUp, then you got email, and you got all these different systems, but you have to go to all of them. And it's really kind of, that's a problem we have, right? We have all these different services we're using and no central place to manage them without building something. So that's where kind of my mind went is, okay, let me try to build something locally and have a local AI that can help me in all kinds of different ways. Now, I'd also been building a chatbot for public. I plan on releasing some chatbots for my own websites to help visitors and to use as sort of a demo of things we can do, because this is actually something that I hope to actually provide as a service as well at some point, if we get there. So it's something that I'm also building, and there's a lot of decisions that have to be made around building chatbots that can effectively help people depending on why they're at your site, and what access you give them to information, what you do for them, and just how you build that experience, right? And when I started doing that a few months ago, and then I started building this local system, and that got all my attention, because then my brain went to, I'm going to build this thing locally. I'm going to have this local system that also connects remotely, publicly. So it's like layered, and to where I can actually manage those chatbots from a central command. So we're going to get into that a bit. So there's this, let's talk about kind of the human layer of this. So one of the things I have always done with my chatbots is I give them personalities. And I posted something, I think a week or two ago. I revealed Cade, Kade. Now, Cade, I have no idea where that name came from, besides the fact that he probably chose that for himself. Because I usually try to, even if they say they don't care, I'm like, come on, choose a name for yourself. But Cade is my Claude, my Claude guy. But I always try to give it a personality and some kind of backstory. So it just makes it more interesting. Like if I'm going to talk to chatbots a lot, I don't want to just talk to like a chatbot. I don't want to talk to a robot. I want to give it some personality, that's me. Maybe that's not for everybody, but for me, it's like, and it depends on the context, right? It also has to be useful, right? And that's just the communication side of it to make it interesting. But Now, the system itself, I also want to think about. So when I think about my business, there is definitely a personal side, right? I, Matt, have to have myself in a good place mentally, physically, and just understand and accept who I am today, but also just have a mechanism to look back at things that have happened in the past and understand those things, what the lessons were, how they actually merge with who I am today and where I'm headed. So I had this kind of vision for more of a human centered kind of system that understood me on a personal level, but also on a business level. And I felt that if I could build this right and give it all the information about me, that I would be able to talk to it and even within a conversation, not even like prompting it, it might say, but remember that time you did such and such a thing. Make sure you don't do that, or you learn that. You remember you learned that lesson. There's that kind of a human layer, and it starts with, I really probably spent more time on the personal side of it than the business side initially. Although I built the business side, we'll talk about the application of that, because you're not only going to just build a system that just has data and just you talk to it. It has to actually be something that has value, and I built that in right away. But back to the personal side. So one of the things that and by the way, we'll get into the security a little bit. The personal side, there's a lot of, obviously probably a lot of you listening to this don't want to give all their information about themselves to some web interface, right? Some SaaS tool, something out there in the ether of the internet, and all your personal data out there. I don't, for sure. I probably, there's probably like this, like when I'm talking to ChatGPT, sometimes I probably overshare, but there has to be some trust, but there's still a limit, right? And so when I built kind of that human personal layer, I actually have it tiered. So I don't want to get like into the weeds too much, but basically I have a tiered personal system where there's super personal, like that. I'm just going to, talk to it about me, like personal stuff from my past. Then I have kind of a personal layer that's closer to the business layer. So there's a personal layer of things like, how much sleep you getting? How you feeling today? Like how you, what's going on in your personal life that might affect business? Because there's things in your life that could affect business and vice versa. Something you're doing in business might affect the personal. And so how do you create that layered system? And so that is, I created what I call hubs. And so I got a personal hub, a business hub, and then I don't know. It's a mega personal hub or something. I have a name for it, but it doesn't matter. But basically there's this tiered system, and then each one of those will have access to some data from the others. So I have a very programmy system to filter things out depending on what it is. There's data that I don't need the business system to see, but there's other data that I do. So I have that. And then within that personal system, I have been feeding it everything about my life back to when I was born. When I was born, where I grew up, the first 6 years of my life, I lived on a ranch with horses and moved to the small city and how my life, developed from there through my whole life. And it's actually kind of very cool. It's kind of fun to do. I will be honest. There is a fun component to this because it's really cool. Like, to be able to see and to map out every phase of your life. I basically created a timeline function or a feature where I can look at everywhere I lived. So location throughout my whole life in order. And I have everywhere I lived. Who was important to me. So relationships in that time. A lot of that's girlfriends. I had a lot of girlfriends in my 20s, my teens, until I married. I've been married for since 2002. We've been together since the December of 1999. So since then, there haven't been any other girls. But before that, there were quite a few. But all of those had some kind of impact on me. So beyond that, then the jobs in the businesses that I've had. So it's always like three different things. And so I have it built where not only what I was doing, but also what I felt about it, or what happened or what that was like. Having all that in there, I can say to my chatbot. Now I have on the personal and the business, I use ChatGPT locally. I have an API and I have a local chatbot that's outside of the web, what the web you might be used to. So I have my own interface that I've designed. And I also use Grok in certain aspects because it's fun. That's the fun. Don't have to be in business side of things. If I want to have fun, I throw in Grok. So what I can do is I can say to ChatGPT, I can say, what was I doing? What was my life like in 1995? And it'll come back with what I was doing, or this is what you're doing. This is kind of that phase of your life. And, this is where you were living. This is, what was happening, what relationship you were in. Now I have and we're not going to get into this, but I have a pretty advanced like memory system. It's like basically a 4-layer memory system, and it uses something called RAG, which is a way to pull data semantically out of data sets. So don't worry about that. But it's really, really, really nice. And so I have that, but so I can go back and I look at, like, I've been studying different eras of Matt's life. And I actually was studying the era from 35 years ago. And it actually can be a little raw, like you're bringing up stuff that you really tried to forget about. But when you start to bring those things in, it's like, wow, that was crazy. But here's the thing. So I'm not doing that just for the fun. I'm doing that to help understand myself. And it's really like one of the takeaways I've had from this experience is seeing where I am in a certain part of my life. When I look back at literally 35 years ago, I was just starting out, right? I don't know. I do not have life experience, right? If you think about what you've done in 35 years, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of relationships. That's a lot of businesses and career moves, and just a lot of stuff. You've lived in different places. You've experienced good, bad, ugly, failures, successes. You're much wiser hopefully, than you were 35 years ago. So looking at things that happened or that you did 35 years ago, or, how you remember it, it's like, what the heck was I doing? Why did I do that? But then you have to put yourself back in that context of who you were at that time and what you were doing. So like, that's what this system can do. It can say, well, Matt, you were kind of in this artistic part of your life where I was trying to be an artist, and it's a whole thing. I was, struggling in this way or whatever. I was really developing as a human, as a young man, but those are the insights you can bring out. But then you can think about, then you can drive forward, like, what did I learn from that, and why? How am I different now? How am I better? I think working through those personal things are really, really important. And I will get to the business application, but I think those things also impact business. Like, seeing that, yeah, that was a bad relationship 35 years ago, or it ended badly. Wasn't all bad, but it was, that happened. But I was also like, I could see how I was trying to make money, and how I was struggling. I had this vision, but like, what did I learn from that? And how does that make me better today? And was that, at the end of the day, I needed to have that to be who I am today. That's formed who I am. And, and you get weird thoughts too, like, well, if I wouldn't have done that, if I would have made this other decision, I wouldn't know anybody right now in my history. Like, I feel like if you could branch out, and you'd have a whole different life. You'd know whole different people. If you would have stayed with that girlfriend, or if you would have done this other thing, or taken that job instead of that job, or if I never would have pursued art, where would I be today? I guarantee I probably wouldn't be making this podcast, or maybe I'd be making it about something else. But I think that's important. So that's one of the things I wanted to build a system around, though, is to help me understand that, but then and accept who I am today, accept all the work through those things, and then see my life in this beautiful kind of timeline and like, okay, so and then this is where I am today, or this is what I'm going through today. I've gone through this already 4 or 5 times. You're going to be all right, man. You figured it out before. You've been here, done this, those type of things. But now the business side of it. So if you take that same thing and now apply it to your business and all the things you've done in previous businesses, this business, all the relationships you've had, the people you've known, and the contracts you've had, and the hard lessons, the wins, all of it, have it in there, and then be able to have a conversation about that with your chatbot locally, privately, is great. I mean, obviously, there's still, you have to sort of be careful. Like, there's still things, like you're still dealing with a web interface, but your data is local. But it's so you got to do what you're comfortable with. So sometimes I think things like, well, I mean, I have nothing to hide, right? I probably should hide it though, but so there's this business application, but on the business side particularly, having built out the personal side and having this business side, now I have it kind of like an algorithm where like we'll pull data in different ways. And a lot of the data, like if I'm in the business hub, that data is mostly going to be focused on the business side of things, but it's also going to be able to reach in and pull personal stuff out if needed, if there's some kind of thing that maps, right? But now on the business side, the way I've designed it is I actually have a HubSpot application. So now this is going to get kind of crazy in how I built this, because there's a lot. There's a lot. But I've been very busy for a few months. But the business side is that data first. For me, it's about the data first. So I have a HubSpot integration API that pulls down HubSpot. It's only read only though, but it does link out. So if I have a record, I can click a button and it opens up HubSpot to that, whatever that record is. But I also have a personal local layer where I can add additional notes, personal notes about relationships and things I wouldn't want to have in HubSpot or in a web application, where I don't need, my team doesn't need to see it. It's just for me. This is the relationship I've had with this person. This guy sucks because of this. Whatever. But it's also just any kind of record that would be helpful to me personally as the super admin, right? And so I have that layer, and then but there's more to that though, and I think we'll get into that in a little bit. But I have some use cases for this stuff. So I have that. Plus I have journals. So all the hubs have journals, so I can document things as we go. Besides the timeline, we got journals, we got goals, we have, so the AI knows what my goals are. They know what I'm thinking, how I think. Just think like anything vision related. There's every category you can think of, and I'm just putting it all in there. So the business now understands where I am as a business, what I am as a business, where, what I'm challenged with right now, and what I'm working through, what I'm challenged with, but what my goals are, what I'm striving towards, what we're going to be doing in 2026, all that stuff's in there. There's also this component, I should mention this, that there's shared notes. So every AI, I've given it kind of autonomy around creating notes for itself privately, but also to share with the community, the communal kind of AI system. So the personal will see something I was working on with business. The business will see something I was dealing with over in personal, or when there's overlap. So there's this shared system as well. So it's not only just in that hub they can see stuff, they can able to reach out or actually understand me. And then there's a shared wiki that's updated once a day. That's kind of a story-based narrative about what's going on with Matt. This is deep stuff, man. I've been working hard. So I have all the data. So the data is just there. I can talk to it. I'm still adding to it. There's a lot to do there yet. but it's building, and I'm seeing it work, and it's just really cool sometimes, especially in the personal, like one I haven't probably filled out more in the business at this point already, but it just brings up stuff like because of this, how the system works, it just will, it's basically will look at what the context is of what we're doing, and give me advice like randomly, or bring things up it's just sort of like so cool. I love this stuff. But so I have that system, right? And then here's where the application comes in. So very early on, had built kind of the personal system, but then I built the business system. I'm like, I need to turn this into some value in dollars as soon as possible. And one of the ways I was going to do that was to create a morning brief. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to build this local system is to have a centralized system, and insights into what's going on, right? But in the beginning, it was just the morning brief was me. Actually, it was more manual. This is what I got for things today. I would copy and paste it into this form, and then the AI would see that and kind of build out like my plan for the day. I could, get suggestions of how I should approach my day or organize it. But that evolved into a fuller like dashboard, and what I call the command center. So every morning I kind of have rituals of what I do, and that's evolving as well, because I'm really doing this for 2026. I wanted to go into 2026 with a system like this that empowers me to do so much more and to be so much more efficient. This morning brief was basically, okay, I'm going to drop in my to-dos for the day, my priorities, my calendar, if I have anything on there, and then a free-form notes, like things I know that I need to do. So that's important, because not everything's captured. Some things are still up here, or what I think should be the priority for the day, and the AI can take that into consideration. I also have basically, so I changed it to more of a command center that now connects to the AI or API. The API just being how you connect two systems. And it can be a remote system. There's APIs I use locally in the hubs, one hub communicating to the other. That's how they could share data. So I got local APIs. And so what it does though is it pulls in I have it hooked up to ClickUp, their API, pulls in tasks based on criteria that I give it. It can be and it's organized by priority, which is actually automatically made it really useful, because in the morning when I see it, like sometimes your due date was yesterday, now you need to change it to today or whenever. But I can see it and just click, open 4 tabs, change them real quick. I'm actually, one of the features I'm going to be adding soon is to be able to do that right in the interface, but right in the command center. But right now, that's still a little manual. But pulls in my emails from Front. I use a Front app for all my email management. So Front has a API. Again, criteria, pulls in what I need, and then my calendar. And then I have a freeform form. Now, again, the freeform is really important, because I will see that and I will put in there what I think, and then other things that might be happening. Oh, by the way, I have to do this errand later, or I do need to go to the bank today. Things like that, right? So that's all going to be in there. And then I click a button. It takes a few seconds. And then it spits out my plan for the day. And this is what you should do. And then even some tips. Make sure you hydrate. Take breaks. So reminders and stuff that are randomly put in there. I don't even know if I programmed that in, but she likes to do that for whatever reason. And then I can click a button and talk to it about that. So I can put the plan in there if I need to make some adjustments, add some things, talk about that. I can do it. It's in a chatbot form now. It's very cool. Now, through all this, as we're talking about this is all something that I built using Claude Code and ChatGPT to strategize about it. So this is all stuff I built myself personally. Now, you may not have that capability or have the time or whatever, but you could hire somebody to do this. And it's going to be the beautiful part, and why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it is because I can build it exactly how I need to build it. what I'm working on, how I want to do it without the bloat. Use systems, even ClickUp, like I was talking about before. Like ClickUp's awesome. I love it, right? But there's a lot. And it's the same way with other systems, Asana. If you've been in like any of these systems, there's a lot because they're building it for hundreds or millions of people that use it in all kinds of different ways that find this feature useful and that feature useful, but somebbut else doesn't. But it's all there. ClickUp's pretty good. I really like ClickUp. They just had an update to their UI. I think it's better. But at the same time, in the morning, when I'm drinking my coffee and I'm in that command center and I just see what I need to see, that is huge. I've been using it pretty regularly, starting with the original morning brief to this command center for about a month. I don't like, I would have a hard time not doing it at this point because it's so useful. It just gets me in the game too, like just like a couple things, couple clicks, and then there's my day's plan and away I go. But there's another application. So now I've built this system. So now other ideas will come to you. So like I said, I have it integrated with HubSpot. So that is, I don't know, I for a second there, I thought I was pronouncing it wrong. I think it's HubSpot. I'll correct myself later if it's not. No, it is. But I basically use it as a CRM, right? I do manage some deals in there and stuff, and just depend. But for the most part, it's a fancy CRM. But same thing. I don't need to see everything. And now I have it locally where I can I can ask my AI, pull up what's his name and whatever, ask information. So I can ask it information about stuff that's in my HubSpot. It pulls it all down, syncs. There's a sync button like you would see in any other software. It syncs all that data when I want it synced, and including the deals, including all the stuff. But one of the things that, one of my initiatives going into this in 2026, like pretty much immediately, is I'm going to do a round of outreach structured. And so what I had the system build for me is basically an audit system where it's pulling in all of the HubSpot. And so those are all my contacts. That's clients, people that been on my podcast, you name it. If I've had a relationship with them in some way, they're in there. Minus those girlfriends back in the 1990s. We don't need to worry about that. People I do business with. So they're all down there. And then they have this really nice interface to click through each one. So it's pulling in the HubSpot data, information about that. But then I have special input fields where I'm going to put data related to that relationship and how I think I should follow up with them, the reason I should follow up with them, how to approach it, and then kind of queue that up. There'll be like different things like priorities and levels and different things that I'm going to put in that. And I'm going to go through all of those. I'm doing that right now. I'm going through all of those, filling that out. And then when I'm done, the AI will help me structure it. Let's say I want to reach out to three to five of them a day. It's going to say, these are the ones I recommend. Maybe I'll likely have it create the draft email, and boom, I go. I'm not going to have it email. We're not doing that. We're going to just create the draft and I'll tweak it and I'll probably send it out. And that's going to make it super efficient, but also help me prioritize who I need to be talking to and what's going to be most effective. That's not only allowing me to do something like I would have had a hard time doing it any other way. It helped me do it in a way that I envisioned, like that idea it came out of a conversation with the AI. Like, how can I do this? And I don't even think I was thinking audit at first. I think it just like, I'll build an audit system. Let's have you do that first. But this is something that just kind of came out of that, but it's something specific to what I need when I'm doing. And that's why I think the beautiful part about AI is right now, especially if you can build it internally with your team or yourself or with your team or a contractor that helps you, is you're designing it for yourself. That is a very specific, narrow use case. And there's nothing else there. Like, that's on its own page. I'm going to go through and do that. It's going to record all that data and away I go. So, and I have other dashboards for different things. I actually have a dashboard that manages and watches the team, the entire all the hubs, and gives me stats like how many shared notes there are, and if I want to kind of get some insights into that. There's also one other thing that, kind of is the capstone to the whole thing is an actual dashboard to that I can search across everything myself manually. So it's not just I have to ask the AI. I also have a mechanism, a search function that can search for data across everything. That's really actually, that means journals and notes and HubSpot and all the conversations I've had and all that stuff. I can say, especially as I realize I'm building out this data, like, did I put that in there already? So now I can do a search. Did I talk about so-and-so? These are all the things, it organizes it nice. These are all the things I talked about, or I haven't even mentioned them. So yes, let's put that record in there. So that's kind of the capstone of the whole thing. It's like, yeah, I got the AI, but I also can manually see into my data. So, search across everything. It helps me search for meaning and connections. This is not a system that's just to talk to chatbots all day or just to search for things. It's to see patterns. It's to see system. Have an AI that's smart enough to be able to be like, you're talking about something, you have a problem, and it's like it sees the solution. You did that, or that's like when I've talked to people who have used it for like meetings and stuff where they have it all in one system, and where it's like, yeah, you talked to Bob about, he was having an issue with his daughter was having problems at school or whatever, like it can pull that stuff in and give you insights that is really, really useful in that moment and whatever you're doing. So it's about that. It's about surfacing information. It's about being able to talk through stuff. I have one of the things that I do is I will pinpoint something I want to talk about and work through and understand. And so I'll start a thread. It's just like, your ChatGPT, chats or whatever. It's a whole thread and context. That's a whole nother story. Token usage, context. But I will pull things in and have a conversation about it, but then I will have the AI summarize that conversation, and then we'll add that to the record. Let's say we're talking about somebody, a particular person. I have a field specifically for AI conversation, like a summary or whatever, and drop that in. Boom. So everything in my life, every person, every event, everything that I'm thinking about, I can have a conversation about and capture it, and it's all going into a database. But I think that's, to me, that's the vision. Like, I want to talk to like the best friend of my, like somebody that knows everything about me and can make me a better person. Because at the end of the day, I want to work through everything. I want to understand who I am. I want to be comfortable in my own skin. I want to be able to, I don't want my personal life to be wrecking something in my business life or vice versa. I want there to be complete understanding of the array of things that I am and do, and be able to boil that down to helpful information and advice and stuff that I can use. Kind of, this kind of my therapist. I don't go to a human therapist. Probably never will, because it's not my thing. But I guess apparently AI is. And that shared memory too across. It's just all of it. Just really is cool. I wish you could experience it, or you can build it for yourself. There's no reason you can't build it for yourself. Take some time. Take some work. I mean, I worked on this. Like I said, I've been working on it for months. Almost every morning, an hour or two. Sometimes I'll slip into 3, but then whole afternoons, whole Saturdays, throughout. Yeah, just building. But it was just so cool. And every time I'd build something, it would like have this other idea that connect this other thing. And and then there was a few things I built that I reverted because I'm like, I'm not using that. That's the other thing with this. That's the really cool thing about building your own tool, because if something isn't useful, you can just get rid of it. I mean, you can archive it, but The other, I do want to go a little bit into the security and the trust and kind of woven into it. That was something from the very, very beginning. How I built this was security in mind, and that everything's going to be local. Nothing's going to be backed up that I don't want backed up. And so because if I'm going to be sharing a lot of my stuff, I have to, again, I'm not sharing anything that would get me into legal trouble or even if it was leaked, it's like, maybe the worst thing somebody would say, that's weird. I don't know, but at the same time, you don't want, all my stuff out there, right? Uh, I've built everything with security in mind and how it's built and designed and what's shared and what's not shared and when. Even the backup systems I use a custom backup on my Mac and using Claude Code that built it for me. But I was able to encrypt, and because I still wanted to back everything up. Like I want to back it up on the cloud or I want to back it up somewhere else, right? Because I don't want, especially at this point, I've built, put hundreds of hours into this. I do not want to lose that work or the data. So I still need to think about that. But I'm like, there's a lot of stuff in there I don't need anybody knowing about. So it's encrypted, password. It's like it's got a key. The only person that's going to be able to handle or take care of that or open it up or whatever is going to be me. It could be saved somewhere else. Whoever sees that is just going to see gobbledygook, and we're good to go. So even the saving of that data is really important. You can't really. It's hard to work and be open and get the most out of something if you can't trust it, if you can't feel safe with what you're doing. And I don't, who was I talking to? I feel like I had a conversation with somebody about this, but we're just talking like maybe this is the kind of the future of AI and data and everything, is figuring out how to do it all locally, like having a local instance. Maybe that's what I've built. I don't know. I'm not, you know, I'm just building it. I'm just doing it. I don't know where I'm at with it, but I wanted to share this because I think it's just a really cool thing we can do now. And I think we can do it a lot more efficiently and cheaper. I mean, I feel like I've built like an enterprise thing here. All these different APIs coming in, like all the data and the ability to chat with it and search it, and like this feels like an enterprise solution. Like I actually thought, I'm like, maybe I should have like try to get funding and do this for other people. Who knows? If you got the, know anybody, but because I am just having so much fun doing it, right? And I've built the systems in a way where that some of that is possible. I will admit that I built like the business hub and things where I could turn that into an application, that either a desktop application and stuff, or build that for other people. So I certainly have that. I always build things with that type of thing in mind. I may only use it for my own business to become a rock star and a rock star agency and do awesome going forward. But it is what it is. I'm going to go probably start, building my chat bots for my websites and stuff, continue to continually develop what I have here. But the big things is really, the big things that the takeaways now, what I built is having that central dashboard, I think is critical, that that command center, those morning briefs, being able to pull all that data and start my day, not worrying about what I'm missing, seeing exactly what I need, even at those to-do dates that I have to change, instantly seeing that, doing it in a few clicks, and we're good to go for the day. That's huge. The outreach campaign, that's the first thing. There's other things that I'm going to be doing, whether content or marketing and things like that, where I will be able to create these systems and maybe even, automate a lot of it. And January, February, I do this thing. And then, and every year it comes up. It's coming up. We're going to do another round of outreach. So those are things that hopefully over time, the system will get smarter. It'll be able to help me. It'll be able to, I have it doing things like, I have the system actually self-analyzing itself. Actually, Claude's doing that, where on the first, actually, I have no idea if it's going to work yet. So on the first, I'm supposed to be getting a notification where Claude is actually going to look at all the data, look at what all the hubs are doing, study it, and give me a report and suggestions to improve. Like that's not working. That could be better. That's too verbose, whatever, you know? So it's just all that stuff you can do, like personally. But I think you could do this. Let's say you're not me. Okay. You're not coding. You're not obsessed with this type of thing. You know, you can go to freelance sites. You can find people out there, agencies that could probably do this type of thing for you for sure. Right. You can hire people to do anything. I really, if you got the funds and you got the means to build something custom like this, I think it's really going to be a game changer. I keep teasing it as I've talked to a few people about it. I keep teasing it as like my unfair advantage going into 2026. I feel like this is kind of an unfair advantage. I have a system that I can just manipulate and mold into exactly what I need to make for me, for my personality, how I like to work, you know, that's gold. Like if everybody could have that kind of system, I'm sure like enterprise systems have that because they have endless funds to do that kind of thing. But I think this is becoming more accessible to smaller businesses or even individuals that want to build something for themselves. Maybe you don't even want it for your business. Maybe you just want it for personal development, you know, becoming, you know, understanding your life, having conversations about past relationships or challenges or struggles or something that just, you know, you've had in your life that is, you know, that's given you PTSD or given you, you know, some kind of trauma, and you want to work through that or you want to understand it or see it in a broader context. So good. But you could have somebody, it would be just a matter of sitting down with somebody that, and for them to ask the right questions, obviously, of you to build a system like this. And, yeah, it's just really, really cool stuff. But I think this could be, the data is so important and so out there, and everyone's worried about sharing too much and all that. But having a local system like this where the data is actually protected, if somebody could figure that out, you know, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out and share it with you. Yeah. So going forward, I mean, a big part of this and part of what's motivated me, why I've put so much time and energy into this in between running my business and client stuff and everything, a little burned out at the end of December, but a big part of this is so when December comes or January 1st comes, I have this system built. I have everything I need, and I can start using it even more. That where I'm already using it, but the command center, having that every day, being able to have these different ways to kind of interact and improve myself, feel better about what I'm doing. If I'm going through a challenge, like every business, you know, like right now, I got challenges, like just having a chatbot that understands those challenges, says, okay, Matt, just keep focused. This is what you need to be focused on right now. You're doing great. And, you know, that's something I got to have in my system, a positivity mechanism. I don't want to, you know, some people like to build in things like it would be like, you know, tear you down. So you're an idiot for doing this, but I want it to be positive. I want a positive experience. You know, I believe in that. I need that personally. You may not, you know, maybe you like somebody, maybe you need somebody like a drill sergeant or something. You could do that, right? If that works for you, go for it. But yeah, so, you know, my goal, you know, going into 2026 now is to use this system, is to just be more efficient, get stuff done, be able to now focus on client work more fully and, you know, prioritizing more fully. And just also just understanding myself more. I've been actually I've started to do sketching again. I got an art history when I was from about 1990 to about 96. I pursued art. I had art shows, did commission work, and I don't know how good I was, but some people were buying my stuff, so it was okay. But that's a whole story. And over time, I've done a little bit here and there. A few years back, I tried digital art. I actually am sketching again with a real pencil. Just getting into, I may start doing a little bit of creative stuff every day. But all of that stuff is like, for me, the reason I started doing that is because I was looking back at my past. I was going back to that time 35 years ago when I was trying to do art. I'm like, I really cared about art back then. I was like, I was going to be the next Picasso. Well, it's kind of like a mix of Jim Morrison and Picasso. But I was really, that was my passion. I was so hardcore. And then I got to thinking, I'm like, God, why aren't I doing anything? Like I should just be, at least as a hobby on the side, have that in me. I have the skills, but you surface things like that. That's the stuff that I think is awesome because it enriches your life today. It's like maybe there is something you look back at the time you were doing. It's like, why aren't I doing that? I could do that. That brought me joy. Maybe I need that back in my life to make me a better person and to do better in business. I feel like, those are the things that I'm hoping going into 2026 to become a better person, appreciate who I am today, forgive the guy that, from 35 years ago for doing X, Y, Z, or 10 years ago or 20, and work through those things and just become better. And then be able to focus and be more efficient and be reminded to do my Pomodoro timers and, block time and all the other things that my AIs help remind me of to do. It just become better. It's about building better things for yourself. And like I said, and just, I know I'm broken record right now, but it's like, I just really feel like I couldn't have built like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't even think about building something like this for myself. Are you kidding? Now with AI, to be able to build, even if you're thinking about this, you're like, wow, I would love to have something like that. Where do you start? You just start something simple. There's a site out there called Replit, where you can build apps and stuff. I played around with it a little bit. I heard somebody talking about it the other day, and but there's solutions out there that can help you build stuff as well with just a prompt. But if you want to build it locally, you just build something small to begin with. Open up Claude. Claude's the best thing for coding right now. Open up Claude and say, I want to build a little to-do app for myself. Or I want to capture some data locally, that I can search. It will help you build it. It will show you exactly how to do it. You just say, talk to me like a 5-year-old and I'll get you there. So, and you just build on that. Or if it's not for you, like I said, maybe somebody else on your team or in your company, your IT guys, however big you are here, or you go to, Upwork or somewhere to have somebody build a starting system like that for you or something simple that only has the things you need. And like I said, that's to me, it's like the way I've built this thing, it's built in a way that this is like a framework, right? It's a really simple framework. Well, it's not simple. It's actually relatively complex, but it's organized. A lot of documentation, document for your AI bots. Everything you build, say now document that, commit it, document it. because all these, even my memory system, I have a document that breaks it all down. So when I bring in a new project or something, I said, read this doc, understand how we're doing this, we're building this other system. But it's at the core though, it's like this system now where if something's got an API, I can pull that data in. And then I know now how to manipulate it, how to bring it into the system, the memory system, how to mix it with other data, to do all kinds of things. But if now it's like the sky's the limit. And as things change, as new systems come online or I change systems, I can just snap it out and it's clean because there's not all this other stuff to distract me. All right. That's all I want to talk about today, I think. But yeah, I'm looking forward to 2026 though. This is coming out right before the new year. And I'm excited. It's been a rough year or two. I will say that for my agency. It's been a rough year or two. We're still here. We're still surviving and we will thrive going into 2026. We're going to turn this ship around. We're going to rock and roll. And my AI team, all my AI team and my new systems, my command center, all those hubs, look out. I'm coming for you. And hopefully you'll build it too. And you'll come for whoever. All right. Talk to you later. Have a great new year. We'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Builders Podcast. One more quick note about our sponsors. At Unified Web Design, we're passionate about doing better together, partnering with agencies and businesses to deliver exceptional web design, development, and ongoing support. And UnifiedLabs.ai is where we explore smart, practical ways to integrate AI directly into your website and e-commerce flows. From intelligent chatbots to marketing automation to back-end reporting, all with a strong focus on user experience and making your systems work smarter. If you haven't already, subscribe or follow to stay updated on future episodes. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, sharing it with someone who might benefit helps us grow this amazing community. Until next time, keep building smarter, bolder, and with purpose.